Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
And good morning, John.
Good morning, Stephen.
Right. Okay. It's been a very complicated week this week. Government have been putting everybody in lockdown, I think. Yeah. Right. Okay. We'll try and avoid COVID to begin with and come up with some stories. Peter, you've got local stories to share as well. So
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. This is Blabbing for Britain, episode 249. Looks like we're going to make the 250.
Oh, hopefully.
Right. Okay. Now, in our local paper was this headline: "Shop early this Christmas and support your local business." So what they're saying is buy local. Are we all buying local?
Where possible.
Yeah.
But Tesco's just too handy. Trying my best.
Well, Tesco's. I mean, we could go Morrison's, but I mean, say good morning to Roland, and another advert for Warminster Town Football Club. And Roland must be watching us on YouTube. Yeah, I think we've got a situation where you've got to support your local businesses, because otherwise they'll just disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crunch time in the next couple of weeks for a lot of people between now and Christmas. The run up to this Christmas is going to be difficult for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've had a call. I won't mention it, but I've already seen people that can't pay me for my service, you know.
Yeah.
And I got done. We said the one where she was crying and everything, a young girl, some problems with her. I said, what we'll do, we'll come and do it for you, right? We'll do it for you. You're in distress. It's not a review on. I'm still looking for the review. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've done it. We've done it over, and she was in distress, but she was a council tenant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know they never done nothing about it. But what we done. You know, but there you go. You know, that was it. Never heard from her again. So I won't be so charitable.
Yeah, in these difficult times. Yeah. And back to Warminster Football Club, who's saying support your local football club too. I can't do that. I support Burnley. I'll always support Burnley. You can take the lad out of Burnley, but you can't take Burnley out of the lad. So there you are. Okay. Right. Now, when we started Blabbing for Britain, it was different to the way it's run now. Before we settled down into having 3 and 4 of us on screen, we used to invite guests on the show. And in episode 24 of Blabbing for Britain, our guests included, if I can find this, yes, I can. Our guests on episode 24 included, in the bottom right-hand corner of this picture, Alan Ray. Now, Alan was a good friend. John and I met him on Academy back in the mid-2000s, and he came on the show because he knew us, and he came on to talk about his love of, well, his 2 loves. One was teaching, and the other was his gardening, John.
Yeah, he ran a big nursery with his wife.
Yeah.
And they did flowers by post, or plants by post, I think was more accurate.
Yeah. He had time for everybody, and he, despite being an academic, he was very down to earth as well, wasn't he, John?
Yeah. He wrote a book, actually, that not a published book, but a PDF-based book that my lad used to help him get his degree. So, yeah, long time back that was.
So we're celebrating the life of Alan Ray. He was a friend to thousands of people, and unfortunately on holiday in Turkey this week, He got into difficulties while swimming and unfortunately died. But our memories of him will always be positive ones. As when he came on the show, he had us in fits of laughter. It was easily done because he was he said a certain word which nearly got us took off air, because he was the professor of bollocks, I think was the phrase he used.
He was also a really good musician. You
Yeah.
name it with strings, he played it, you know.
Yeah. With Rinnen. Yeah. It was just check out his page. It's full of music and the joy of. He was a joyful character. He always looked on the bright side. Definitely an optimist. So, Alan, thank you. Yeah.
I see Tish is with us today. I hope she's better.
Yeah, Tish is definitely with us. Good morning, Tish. That's live. Yeah. Nice to see you, Tish, always. Right, okay. And next item on the agenda. Okay. I'm trying to find, it's difficult. Peter, have you got anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, let's go and look at the two papers that we've got here in Aberdeen. So, what do I do again? Right, I go to, where do I go? Share screen?
Yeah, share screen.
Wait a minute, I've done that. So, why is it not? Hold on. Can you see that?
Just a minute. I'm looking. I'm just looking backwards and forwards. I haven't got anything yet.
It's not coming up. Why is it not coming up screen?
Wait a minute, hang on. Is it trying to come through?
Okay.
Do not adjust your sets. I've got a blank screen.
Okay. Let's try this one.
Try again and share a Chrome tab.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I'll took it off. It's not turning off. No, the screen's orange. No, the screen at the side's orange. Let me do it again. Right. It's not turning off to open up again. Let's try that one. Can you see that?
I'm trying, Peter.
Remove by post, it says.
I've not got anything. I'm going to go through it here. If I click screen,
right,
then go over to Chrome tab, and then pick a tab, share.
Right, I think I've got it now.
It will come into the studio.
I'll just.
There we have it. We have the Guardian. I'll put the Guardian full screen. Guardian is, well, it's a Manchester newspaper. It was, and it's got today's stories in it. Majority of the stories are about the situation in relation to COVID and Marcus Rashford. And if I can go to the page itself. Okay, so there we have it. Sport. And England are actually going to play in South Africa. That's the news of the day. I know it's not on that page. Okay, Peter, have you sussed it?
Yeah, right. So here we go. And right, we have two papers. We have two papers here in Aberdeen, both owned by DC Thomson. One is the Press and Journal, and one is the Evening Express. One's the morning one, which goes all over north of Scotland, really. And then we've got the Evening Express. But I remember when I put a pest control story to them both, one of them said, if you're going to put out a press release, give it to one of us. Just don't give it. So it's going to be my rifle, I think. So this is the news in Aberdeen, and I'll see if I can see some. So we've got here Highland Council to dip into reserves as considered future funding. What else we've got here? And for this, it is more thingy news. Let's look at I'll click the Aberdeen link.
Okay.
Right. Oh, The Pankhurst sisters sent from Aberdeen to Stroud with £20 and a one-way ticket. Ooh, wasn't it nice? Aberdeen man fined for making racist comments and monkey noises to tell stuff. Well, you've got a short-lived life if you do that. There you go. How's a nice story from the Press and Journal. Aberdeen Airport food waste scheme helps 1,200 vulnerable residents. Now I was away to Tesco earlier this morning, and I always buy something, just one little thing to put in it, and because there's a lot of people starving, and that's a big debate this morning on radio, and that is they're looking for free school meals, but people are phoning up and saying, why should we have to feed the kids of people who neglect their kids? If they can't feed them, some of them are saying, take them away from them. So that's how brutal life.
It is brutal. I mean, the fact is that there are children who need feeding, and it's society's responsibility. End of.
So the people are saying instead of giving money now, it should be vouchers only for their school, for their meal, and that only. Because I remember people that were getting some sort of thing, they were selling it, and that was the problem. Claims COVID-19 rule breakers who ushered Aberdeen into local lockdown should not have been rewarded with bail. So what they're saying is, if they're arrested, keep them in. If they can't stop spreading it, and that's what happened in Aberdeen. A guy got refused on an oil rig, and he went to the pub instead. So that is the Press and Journal. That's the morning paper, and I'll take you on the Evening Express if you don't mind. Can you see that?
Just a minute. I'm looking.
Hold on, I'll just go to my share button. I think
I think I got it.
Have you got it? Right. Evening Express.
Yeah, just a second.
And
oh no, that's not it.
No, it's the Guardian. I think.
Hang on. We've got. I'll hide that.
Well, I'll have to go into the. I'll have to go into the. Can you see the Evening Express there?
That's the one we just had. So
share. Wait a minute. It says share this tab instead. No.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not seeing that again. Hold on. Right. Back. Why is it? Wait a minute. Sorry about this, folks. Right. Can you see Evening Express now?
Just a minute, Peter. Going through my list of things. Nope.
Right. Screen.
Wait, at the top of the screen, can you see stop sharing?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. This is what I've done now. I'm back in, and I've got to share now. You should see it now.
Okay, let's bring it on the screen and go full screen.
Okay.
All yours, Peter.
Right. So this morning up in Aberdeen, it was absolutely lashing a rain, and I'll tell you, we've had our fair share of floods in this city recently. A place called Stonehaven, which is north, is just a disaster. The flood barriers, it's not working. But I went out today, even in the Tesco car park today, it was flooded, and that is just coming out of a canopied roofed area as well. So we've got a big problem with flooding. It's going to drag everything down in Aberdeen, because when we get a flood, we get a flood, and it really slows the traffic down. So that's big news in Aberdeen. We've got unfortunately, it's quite sad that we're getting some young people dying at early age of different things. That's quite sad. Local, we've got a man, 52, dies aboard a fishing vessel in the North Sea. We get that quite a few times. And I'll just Highland League Chief Rod Houston encouraged by reaction to Cup semi-live streaming. So that is Highland League. If you've ever heard of that, that's my bit about football. Can you believe that? That is basically what's happening in Aberdeen, and I'm trying to look for some good news. See it.
That's the problem. The good news isn't news, is it? I mean, I know somebody who started a good news newspaper, and they couldn't find enough content for it, so it eventually closed down.
Yeah. So that's it. If you have any questions on that, please ask. But we're actually quite a hilly city. But the problem is everything runs down, and we've got rivers that the floods burst the banks and come onto the park and everything. So that's the view from Aberdeen. And I'm sorry I couldn't find any good news there today. Thank you. Back to you.
John, do you have a view from Solihull?
There's nothing really much. The most exciting thing happened yesterday was a stolen car being driven down the main road onto the side streets, hitting a wall, running. The guy got out, ran, but he was caught because the helicopter was above and they just followed him. And when he hid, they obviously told them exactly where to find him. But that's about the most exciting thing that's happened around here. We've been in tier 2 since before the tiers were announced, because we were in local lockdown anyway, so no family meeting, etc. Although I did go to my daughter's house on Monday, where I dumped the food and the food on the pavement outside her flat. She came down and collected it, and Celia and I stayed in the car and watched her collect it. So that's it about my height of excitement of my week, except that I've got an email that I'm trying to send out for somebody that works perfectly in Gmail, but not in Outlook. But who cares about my problems? That's it really for me for what's going on in Solihull.
I told you, well, perhaps this will resonate with you, Peter. I'm just doing a screen share, and this is our local paper. And I'm going to bring it up on the screen, and I'm going to put it full screen. Okay, and this is the story, and I'm just going over to the tab so that we can scroll it, possibly. Chippenham bridge rats are back again.
Lovely jubbly.
A plague of rats is back in and around the River Avon in Chippenham, which is about 10 miles away from here. A local businessman has now repeated his calls for the town council to do something about it. What are they doing? Said Aide Jonathan Blacklock, director of Blacklock and Partners in Avon Reach. It's about time they got to grips with this one once and for all.
Yeah.
And apparently the problem is that people are feeding ducks and swans.
Yeah.
And that's attracting, because the ducks and swans aren't eating all the bread, that's attracting rodents.
Oh, and that's exactly why we're getting called out, because people are feeding birds, but they're also feeding rats, even if they've got them high up on something, because there's always spillage, and the rats will come sniffing about. And while they're sniffing about, they'll say, oh, there's a hole in the building. I'm going to go into it and see what's here. And that's what's happening, you know. And the whole country is riddled with them at the moment, you know.
Yeah.
We're getting mice. We get a lot of mice in houses. That's what we deal with, you know. And yeah, so I can understand that. I'll tell you, that must be the most photographed rat in the world, that one.
It's a star. Now you can see on the right-hand side that there are ads for Hootsuite.
Yeah.
I actually checked out the website yesterday, and that's why the ads are coming up. Spooky, isn't it? Somebody's watching everything you do.
Hootsuite years ago. But
Back
that's
to the front.
Yeah.
Back to the front page of the paper, and the Care Complex, and then Shop Early This Christmas, which is where I got a headline from. People are back singing again.
Yeah.
I think the local theatre put on a session the other night as well. But as with your paper, Peter, most of the news is bad news.
Yeah, it's
Let's
hard
come
to
back.
get any good news. Tell you a bit of good news.
Yeah, I'm going to hide that and then we'll go back to the three of us. Yeah. I could do with some good news, Peter.
I opened an email the other day and I read it, and it says, congratulations, which to inform you that you became the winner in the Scottish Enterprise Awards.
Brilliant.
Small business. And I've been voted, you're listening, John, Best Independent Pest Control Business in Aberdeenshire. And how did we come to this? Well, they said to me, you've been nominated a couple of months back or something. Yeah, I says, okay. I just left. I didn't do anything for it. And they came back and they says, how did we come? So basically, John, what they've done is looked at social media, they looked at reviews and just basically searched Aberkil in the area. And because of that, I won that award. Thank you very much. Okay, that's
good news. That's good
and
news.
that's a bit of good news, and I wasn't expecting it. So, do you know, before I used to go into these things and I better win this. This time I couldn't be bothered, and that's actually 3 awards to go into this year. But the other one for being a ex-serviceman involved with sport and also involved with business. It's not going ahead until next year now. So there you go. Don't wish for something, just let it happen. That's what I would say.
Indeed, unless you can make things happen. Talking of which, John, we are live today at 4 o'clock, yes?
I believe so. Talking about awards, my friend Tanya Smith lives local, know her through the Yes group. She has been awarded Single Mums in Business Instagram Influencer.
Oh, well done.
She's got a pretty trophy from Single Mums in Business to say that she's their single mum influencer on Instagram. So that's another award going around at the moment.
I don't use Instagram.
Okay.
I've got an Instagram account, but I don't really do anything with it. So
Have any of you got TikTok?
no.
No, have you, Peter? Have you been on there?
I got it done. I upgraded my phone, and guess what? They give you whether you want it or not. So it's on the phone, you know, and that really annoys me. You should be able to click a button and say, yes, I want it, or no, I don't want it. It annoys me when they throw things in that you don't want. And
that's the same when you buy a new PC. You know, tons of bloatware on a new PC. Get bloatware when you get a new phone.
But there again, you see, these people with TikTok, I've got to remember a lot of these young people might get to know Aberkil through things like that. And when their mum, or even if they've got their own property by then, they might have a wasp nest, they might have a rat problem. So you've really got to think it is another bit of your marketing, I would think. Because as I say, I used to get stopped in the street with the ones on Facebook, youngsters and all sorts. So I think you've got to look at these things, depending on what you do, of course. You know?
True. And Tish likes your background, John.
Yeah. We had everybody have a balloon background last week. And I've discovered actually that this is pretty good because it don't show me chair. So I've kept it.
Where are you today, Peter?
Well, my phone didn't work out, so this is actually representing Aberdeen City behind me. Very blurry just now, very dull. So I thought I'd keep it up, you know. No vision. You know, there's just no vision in the city. And it's very, very gloomy. breaks my heart, actually.
Let's have a bit of colour. Right, okay, on with the news, and 2 parts. Now, it says here, Sir David Attenborough, polar research ship set to begin sea trials. I think that's really Boaty McBoatyface in disguise.
It is indeed, isn't it? And
Yeah.
it has actually now sailed. I noticed this morning
Yeah.
that it's now sailed into the Irish Sea for trials.
And there you have it. Story. Well, it's only a short story, but it brings back memories.
Red. Have you seen a picture of it?
No.
It's bright red.
So it can be spotted.
Okay. Right. Now, I thought I'd never see this, but PayPal is going to allow payment by Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
I don't know about you, but I've never trusted that Bitcoin at all.
I don't trust it. It goes up and down like a yo-yo. How can you use something that's not stable?
So if you got £50 of Bitcoin and they end up to 100, did they let you draw it out there and then say, I'm going to take 100? That's it.
I don't know. I mean, basically, what PayPal does with currencies is it takes a daily rate.
Yeah.
And if the daily rate changes, then the value of dollars or the value of euros goes up or down according to what's happened on your PayPal account.
And it's a lousy rate as well.
Don't trust it at all. And I don't think the government like it either.
Bitcoin, well, I've got loads of people who say it's wonderful and they've made thousands of pounds. Didn't seem real to me.
No,
didn't
I wouldn't
seem sensible. So I've passed it by. Or it's passed me by would probably be a more accurate statement.
It's gambling, isn't it? For want of a better word.
Do people sell Bitcoin to you?
Something I never quite understood. You can mine your own Bitcoin.
No.
John's having a drink at that one.
Not
Bitcoin is created by computer activity.
Right. Nah, don't like
as far as I know. It's a mystery. It really still is a mystery. I mean, the more you hear about it, less you know about it, sort of thing. Because it's all smoke and mirrors. We need a Bitcoin expert to come and join us.
I'm trying to think. I was something in my mind to talk about today.
All right. Anyway, something to cheer us all up. I've started a new private network. Peter and John are members, and I'm going to go full screen and tell you a little bit more about it. Now that fade at the end, which I love, is all John's fault. Right, so it's a new social network. You are invited to join. If you're interested, then contact me after the broadcast and you can join us on our new network. It's not Facebook, there are no adverts, and something screwed up my camera feed. I've gone all bright.
You look like a ghost.
I look like a ghost. What's going on? Just a minute. I'm just going to refresh my camera.
Oh, speaking about ghosts.
God.
Well, oh my, last night I went to bed early. This is no joke. And Sheila's sleeping in the other room just now. We're still speaking, don't worry about that. And I was lying in my bed. And I felt as though somebody was sitting next to me looking over me. And I couldn't scream. This is me. I'm kicking from my neck. And I woke up and I run through to Sheila and says, I don't know what's happening. I thought it was a Grim Reaper. I really did. What a nightmare. Then I woke up at 3 in the morning. But no, that is a true. Oh, I was terrified. Anyway, so somebody was watching over me. I see it.
I think there's somebody watching over us all the time, Peter. I'll be back in a minute. Your starter for 10. Whilst I try and sort out this camera, because it's annoying me, is privatising the railways. I can see you're sort of taken by that, but I'm going to hide for a minute.
Transport for Wales are set to be national. Do you know, it doesn't surprise me. No, but all I will say, do you remember a British rail sandwich? I do. Let the train
up at the corners. Curled up at the corners.
Yeah. Although I'm a conservative, I just don't think that privatising the railways was the right thing. The rail work, water, electricity, kind of basic essentials in life. So, but if they do go nationalised, you've got to get it right this time. Be like the Japanese, get them cheap fares, and have people that push you on a train and cram it after COVID, of course. John.
Well, what can I say after that, really? Shove them all in and pack them in like sardines. There's nothing but constant demand around here for more rail, and West Midlands Rail failed to meet demand. So, what can I say?
Well, if I return, because I would do it part-time, and if you've ever seen them in Japan doing it, you know, somebody's face may be hanging out, I would take their face and push it in. So get there.
Oh dear, little things plays little minds, eh, Pete? Yes.
Disgust. Get in there, you're not getting out.
But of course, if you went to India, they all travel on the roof as well, don't they?
Oh, I know. I've seen that. I actually watched it was fascinating. I watched the life of a train driver there, and he says, the system, have you ever killed them? He says, yeah, about 100 people. Doesn't even stop. They've got people that come and pick up the dead bodies. What a life, you know. Okay, speaking about Wales then, don't you think they're really becoming, like I say this, autonomous, is that the right word? Doing their own thing now, kind of thing? Or they want independence?
Well, they've been copying you guys up there, haven't they?
Not my God. Hey, I've just seen an article this morning, just where Nicola Sturgeon starting to get a bit of a backlash. She's shut the pubs, you see.
And extended it further still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Aberdeen getting it twice. We've already done it.
Well, the thing is, at least she says the buck stops with me, which is more than our man does.
I just wish politicians would turn around and say, we got it wrong.
Have you seen a voiceover done by Janie? She was on.
Yeah, I don't listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh, right. Okay. I'll change the topic then. I think they're quite good.
Yeah, no, they're very, very good. Even Nicola Sturgeon listens to them. Did you know that? But it's a down south voice, you know. So did you know there's a bit of rivalry between Glasgow and Aberdeen? Did you know that?
Oh, right. No, go.
Especially with the football, that. I remember they've got Glasgow rolls, and I remember a guy coming up to an open market in Aberdeenshire, and he said, "You're not allowed to shout." He said, "Get your Glasgow rolls." And I heard a woman walking past and, "Take your Glasgow rolls and stuff in and go back." That was Welsh. But yeah, I'll have when I went a weekend away, I go to Glasgow. And I get on terrifically well with the people, you know. And if you want a good applause at a karaoke, go to Glasgow, you know, because I really, really appreciate you. Yeah. There's my back Glasgow. I'll have a free hotel visit for that or something like that, you know. Tourist board. Right, I've got a question for you. Have you ever considered an e-bike?
A what?
An electric bike?
An e-bike.
No.
No, I never considered the bike, Peter. The roads around here are such that it's not a safe place to cycle. Really, we've got 2 cycle paths in the whole of the town, and then we've got lots of roundabouts, and we've got lots of motorists who use this to go some journey somewhere else. So it's just uncertain roads. Yeah.
Well, I saw a survey this morning. Have you ever done an e-bike? And it goes, yes. And I had done it 5 years ago. Then I went on to a normal bike. And would you consider it again? It goes, yes, I would, to get back into the city, park up and get back home quick if I needed to. Because we're a wee bit of Healey, our city. I've seen a lot more e-bikes. And when they first came out in Aberdeen, people used to have one. Now they're the top seller. A fantastic way to get fit again. If you don't fancy going up that hills quick on your own pedal power, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. And it says, what do you think we should do about it? I said, you need to have more advertising and more education on e-bikes. And I think they're here for the future to cut down. I'm not agreeing, but to cut down on vehicle use, etc., etc. Best thing I ever done. Well, you know my journey with electrical bike, and it was the best thing I ever done. Incidentally, I'm down to 11 stone 8. I've got a resting rate of 62. I've never had that for a long time. Do you know, I was feeling ill, you know my thing with my PP, and I went to give blood, and she says, while you're here, we'll check you out. Down to 11 stone 8. Never done like that before. She says, you must be chilled. You've got a 62 resting heartbeat. So, wow. And it was 140 over 81. And I've never felt so good now. I feel better now. I think it's been chilled.
Being chilled helps. Going for walks helps. Getting out in the countryside.
Yeah. And I haven't been doing a lot of that recently. I haven't, but do you know what I miss about my bike? I miss being with the other people from my group. Yeah. That's what I miss. And I just miss communications with people. And it's not the same. Going on your bike, you say, where am I going to go? You know, what's my objective today?
Yeah.
So, but I'm maybe going to have an objective even to do 3-5 miles just to get me out and get my blood pumping because my sugar levels were top. But I'm down to 1 meal a day.
What?
I'm down to 1 meal a day because of my diabetes, and I'm eating like very little carbs at all, and that's been the big change in me recently.
So what about breakfast? I
haven't had anything. I just have a meal at night, tea time. A lot of people are now going on what do you call it? Not a starvation. What do you call it when you don't eat? A fast. Even diabetics, and it gives your organs and that a chance. And they have a fast, and then they eat something. It's because I don't want to go on insulin. That's the problem. I do not want to go on insulin because one day I'll waken up dead. You ever fear that you're waking up dead?
I don't think that doesn't compute. You can't wake up dead. You won't wake up. Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
That's why I would spend all the money I've got just now with a great time, but I'm scared to run out of money and have a miserable 10 years after it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Okay. We definitely have a north-south divide now, do we not? Between those who are in the medium category, which is everything south of Solihull, and north of Solihull is category 2, category 3.
Well, north of Wolverhampton
Right.
is above category 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we were
in the West Midlands. We've been category 2 for quite a few weeks. So,
what do you think's causing it, gentlemen?
That's the question, isn't it? I mean, these places are going to lockdown and seeing no improvement.
Lack of care.
Well,
a whole group of society that doesn't give a monkeys.
Yes.
A whole group of society that says it's fraudulent. Well, my daughter will tell you that there's 26 people in her ward, 11 staff and 15 people, 15 patients who've all tested positive in the last 3 weeks. So
that's the thing, John. We went into a lockdown, as you know. Aberdeen got hit. We were in a lockdown. It's opened up again, and guess what? We're getting the highest rates again.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as it's opened up. But in closing it down doesn't seem to have much effect up north.
No, I don't think people are going to listen. Even the 2 chief constables this morning on radio, Ferrari, when he put it to them, could you tell us what exactly it is? They couldn't do it. He says, how can you arrest people if you don't know the rules? And that was the chief constables. They couldn't answer the question. It's ridiculous. Now, if you look at Victoria in Australia, boy, you better not break it over there. You are arrested, no matter who you are. Did you know about that whole harsh law there?
Yeah, they're just coming out of the situation, aren't they? They're loosening loosening it up so that people can actually go out and about again.
They went down to the level of saying, okay, those 3 blocks of flats, nobody leaves, you know?
Yeah. But look at Spain. I had a couple of people I know in Spain. They were not allowed out. They had to get permission, download things on their apps, etc.
Yeah.
Spain is now one of the highest for COVID. So what happened to the lockdown? What happened? And they're
the 6th country to go through the 1 million mark, aren't they?
Yeah. And they were draconian in their efforts,
Yeah.
you know? And the Spanish police didn't muck about, I'll tell you. So, it's unfortunately the suicide rates are going to go up. And I think speaking to someone, I was on a thing yesterday, and I says, there was hoteliers and everything talking about online, and I says, so what happens then that if you can't even pay your bit, the government pays some now when you pay the rest. I says, if you're not getting a pound over the table, how can you pay the bit that you're meant to pay if you've no money? If you're at your limit with your overdraft, how can you pay your staff? I don't know if you're meant to pay them and you reclaim it back for the government, or they get paid direct for the government. Do you know what it is?
I'm not sure. John, do you know?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Because imagine someone's on £300 a week or whatever, and the government gives the money to them to pay to their staff. By the time it comes to the staff, they say, I can't pay you. I'm over my overdraft limit. And
That's a problem. Yeah.
Checks are bouncing. I'm sorry. So you're going to have to be a creditor of mine now.
Now I'm going to say good morning to Corinda.
Hi, Corinda.
And Corinda is saying he's back home. He's back home from the CT scan. Everything, well, I hope it went well, Corinda. I know you was frightened of actually having one, but it's good that you're back home safely.
Wishing you the best. When's Rishi Sunak doing his bit for the restaurant travel? He's meant to have some coming out today, is he?
It's making an announcement about 2 new support things today.
He is. Yeah, it's basically the problem is that in category 3 everything's closed and there's compensation. In category 2 it's not closed. Nobody's going to the pubs and restaurants, and there's no support. Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel so guilty that my guys are still working. Guilt. I'll tell you, here's a question for you. What do you think with the Andy Burnham thing the other day? What's your thoughts on that?
Sorry, could you say that again, Peter?
The Andy Burnham escapade.
Okay.
It was announced on the steps at a certain time. This is the government was giving you X instead of this. Now, according to the minister, he'd already phoned Andy Burnham and said, "You're not doing a deal with this. This is what's happening." And they made it look as though it's just been thrown on him at the last minute. It didn't look. It looked like that, but it wasn't. What's your understanding of that?
Well, they didn't actually give the information to Andy Burnham. They actually gave it to the mayor of Manchester, who was stood next to Andy Burnham.
Right.
That's what happened. But the whole thing's a farce anyway. 60 million, you know, it's better than a kick in the ghoulies. To hang out for an extra 5 million, and how many lives did he put at risk? Over £5 million. That's what I wonder.
Do you think it's become too political, this pandemic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
on you go.
The group in Manchester were cross-party. It was Labour and Conservatives who were actually involved in the initiative. And it's because the Parliament devolved this particular area to the regions and gave them the powers to negotiate.
Yeah.
So it's Parliament said, look, you're responsible for this now. And Andy Burnham was just taking up his responsibility.
Right. So what I think we should do in future, in any case of national crisis, every government in the United Kingdom should listen to the UK government, and they are the overlord, if you like, of what's happening, because there's nothing been so confusing than Wales doing this and Scotland doing that and Northern Ireland does. It's pathetic. It should be one for all during something like this. Because if you've got a lockdown in Scotland of some sort and somebody comes over the border to do their work, it is just a joke. It really is. So that's what I would say. National crisis, national responsibility. Déjà vu, they would say. That woman, it would say. Déjà vu.
Yeah, it's common sense, isn't it, Peter? That you should have a national plan for everything. It should be run centrally. It's too important to be left to regional governments, national governments. It should be the whole.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you, I once went down to a place, it's called Scotland's Secret Bunker. It's a cottage, but when you go to the cottage, you go deep, deep, deep down. There's a nuclear bunker where all the councillors and everything would go, and all those of importance and things like that. They had cyanide pills and everything there. And I was they show you a film if there'd been a nuclear blast. The police were given rifles, army went about, and if you were looting or anything like that, do you know what happened? You were shot on the spot. That's what the government had planned, you know. Not saying shoot people, but certainly say, right, you broke this 3 times. You're going into this detention centre until the end of the pandemic. You'll be getting bread and water. It's all we can afford.
Shooting people is never a good idea, Peter, because you can only shoot them once. Shooting people is never a good idea.
I do believe they're doing that in the Philippines.
And Nigeria. Did you guys hear about Central London gas explosion?
Yes, aye.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Corinda's been busy. That's
okay.
Who's he? I don't know who he were talking about. It is Peter. All right. Hang on. I'm trying to catch up with the comments.
I know.
Lib Dems are also running at the moment, and I'm being honest. Apart from local councils.
You repeat what you said about the Libs. I'm just going to write this down. Hold on.
Speed of typing is impressive. Yeah, Peter, you've been joined by Corinda on your call for One Government for All.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I'll just put this up on screen again because I can. There we are. Right. Okay. We've not mentioned 2 things so far, which are coming up. And I'm just I'm waiting for, I want it to be November 4th, Peter.
Yeah.
I want it to be November 4th, the election over with, and then counting the votes. Because we've had, yeah. I mean, it doesn't affect us to a large extent, whoever wins, but
I think it does long term.
Okay.
I think it affects the world, whatever's happening, you know. And I don't think whoever wins, it will not be the end, because you might see people get impeached who they find out something later on, and they've got the documents, like a laptop lying with the FBI for quite some time, I believe. Have you heard about that?
That's plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. John?
Yeah, well, I'm not paying any attention to anything that's not affecting me locally at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm busier than I have been for a long time, but more with firefighting problems than moving things along. So battles across the Atlantic and politics in the UK is rather passing me by at the moment.
Well, just to let you know, America's just on the brink of like a mini civil war in some areas. We're already shooting each other, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Britain is at boiling point in some areas too. You know, it is happening, and I think if there's going to be another lockdown, I do believe you would probably see civil disobedience. Do you think so, guys?
Yeah, I think we're getting that to a certain extent anyway, because only 20% of those people told to go into quarantine are actually doing so. 80% of people just ignoring it, and that's fact. I mean, it's a losing battle if people will not self-isolate when they're told that they've been in the company of someone who's tested positive.
Mm-hmm.
But as a community, let's say, we're not all, and employers, we're not always helping that situation. I mean, as you know, Alice tested positive from work. She's nursing staff. That meant Andrew has had to self-isolate for 14 days.
Yeah.
His company's attitude, statutory sick pay. That's no pay for 3 days and £95.46 a week for the balancing
I
7
thought the government was giving money for people that were sick.
They live on the breadline as it is. You know, there are a couple of youngsters with barely earning any more than
Wow.
national minimum wage.
Yeah.
You can't really afford to be off. But, you know, she won't
So
let him go to work because she is
John, how long have they been
responsible.
off? Sorry, Andrew. How long have they been off now?
She tested positive last Thursday, so Alice can't go back to work till November the 1st. But 14 days from Friday, basically, is when they can go back. Alice's first shift is November the 1st, so that's why November the 1st is
How
there.
is she feeling? Is she okay?
Fine. Spoke to her last night. Yeah, nothing, you know, no indication. But she says the 26 people that have tested positive on the ward, only one person's got any symptoms, and they're very mild.
Are they sure who's doing it is accurate then?
I think so. I mean, because she's NHS staff, she's tested on a Tuesday and gets her results on a Thursday morning, which is why she had to self-isolate from the Thursday.
So she's
Phil, who works in a care home, is the wrong description because they're more people who don't want to live on their own, you know, rather than people with illness, although there are people with dementia there. He's tested weekly as well. And, you know, he gets tested on a Monday, I think, Phil does, because Alice only works 3 days a week because she works 12.5-hour shifts, whereas Phil works afternoons and evenings. And he works 5 days a week. And he's tested, and 3 days later, because it's private in his case, not NHS, he gets his result on his phone, you know.
So if your daughter's got it, that means everybody, she's been, patients and everything, must be tested as well then, right away.
Everybody's tested. In the entire ward is tested on Tuesday, and the entire ward gets their result on the Thursday. That's staff and patients.
Mm. Do you feel sorry for the government?
I think they're banging their head against a brick wall, to be honest, and I don't think they can win. Because
has Labour said what they would do?
Yeah.
Yes, they have actually. Keir Starmer has a list of things he would like to do. Yes.
Right. Now, any different? Big difference?
That's a good question. I said he had one. I didn't say I'd read it.
Right.
Yeah, but they have a plan. Lib Dems have a plan. Everybody's got a plan, but as John said, nothing's working at the moment. And not to get too political, but it has been traced back, or disobedience has been traced back to Mr. Cummings' escapades earlier this year, when people
everyone else feels they can break it. Yeah,
correct.
But
that's it.
It's also segments of society that are also making it. That's youngsters. You know, I'm 18. It ain't going to hurt me. Yeah. That's ethnic minorities. Our God will look after us. You know, and it's happening everywhere, and it's happening round here just as much as it is up north.
I'll tell you, if I come out to the daily briefing, if it was me, I'd say, right, okay, some people haven't understood this. There's been mistakes. Here's what's happening. Any MP or anybody like that has got to know the rules, and you must resign immediately if you're caught. And you have been warned.
Well, it's only your Scottish lady that falls into that category as MPs go.
Yeah.
And she still hasn't resigned, has she? So
not resigned, and she is one stubborn lady. She's not doing it, and that'll be a big embarrassment to the Scottish government. Although she's an MP for Britain, not Scotland.
I know, but they've still kicked her out the party, haven't they?
Oh, she's not the party. I think she'll stay in to get her severance pay, and that'll be the end of her. Gone. And no, it's quite it's quite interesting what's going on.
Because she could be got rid of by a local constituents by, I think it's 500, is it, that have to sign the document? Because in these days, you can't do things like go into a town hall and sign a document, you know? So,
No.
Brenda, thank you for all your comments.
Can I ask you a question, guys? Can you hear my dog barking?
no.
No?
Yeah, it's working. Lovely jubbly.
Excellent. Right, so that's the advert for Deco and Crisp over. We'll go now to John to close the show.
Right. Anyway, I think Corinda's got a lot to say today, but you've run out of time, mate. So it's goodbye from him up there in Scotland, who's probably down there on the screen, but he's up there in Scotland to me. It's goodbye from him, who's down there in the southwest, who's probably over there on the screen. And don't forget, building our community. Stephen's going to make a post about it afterwards. So we'll see you later today, those who are going to come and watch me and Stephen and our next bit. Bye.
Bye.
Would say, may your God go with you.